Slovakia Championship 5000. We're going to eat all the chicken and lamb, and it's going to be spiced correctly, and then maybe some nice pilaf on the side. With me, as always, is the future of Pinochle, Travis Wallace.
Yeah, take two.
And the man, the myth, the legend, he who suplexes small children because, well, I mean, fuck them kids, Mike Magus.
I do have a small child in the family to suplex now, so that does
Excellent.
work.
I as well. I repeatedly powerbomb my niece because she thinks it's hilarious.
But hey, the kids love it. That's all that matters. We're here for F3 Action Team Championship between Replay Racing, which is led by Andy Blade. Team, what is the pronunciation for your team there, Travis? What are you going to go with on that one? There you go. Team
Static.
Team Static, led by Travis Wallace. Team Breitling Racing, led by yours truly, and on your screen right now, Michael Magus. I'm not really the leader. Mike Stoffmill is definitely the leader, but that's all there is to it. And then Team Puma, which is the unfairly stacked team, led by Martin Emmons.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Pumas are pretty cool.
It's true. And in fact, here I am coming around with a personal best lap that is going to improve me one spot on the grid to 8th place.
Nailed it.
Hey, that actually is my all-time best at this track, so I'll fucking take it. There is your grid positions there. Travis Wallace on pole from teammate Christopher Streppin, Jesse Hampton, John Barker, and Mike Stoffman rounding off the top 5, followed by Martin Emmons, Wesley Stokes, myself, Jeff Roulette, Javier Perez Torres, James Butler, the only replay car on the grid, Richard DeRoche, Josiah Jerome way down in 13th place. What's up with that? And John Picha in 14th.
I think 3 of Josiah Jerome's pixels went out, which means he's down to 1.
I mean, it could be that he's just depressed that he's not Travis's boy anymore, that it's now Christopher Streppin.
Hey,
Also true.
Josiah is the OG, okay? Still my boy.
Still your boy? Just not your current boy?
I'm proud of that 24 FPS man. he is kicking tail.
On a good day.
That's like 19 more than I already had.
On a good day. On a good day, 24.
When the pipeline briefly opens up to allow more pixels.
Indeed. So this is Slovakiaring, which is a bit of a niche track that a lot of people don't know about. It is fun as hell, Travis. You can agree with that or disagree with that if you want.
Oh no, it's totally a fun track. More so in quicker cars than these, but it is fun. Like GT1s here was a blast.
Oh yeah, that was good. But these are pretty freaking fun here too.
Wait, so Slovakia? I thought we're gonna have skewers and meat and food.
No. It's actually starving.
Now it's just hatred and genocide. This is lame.
Anti-Czech Republic stances. Here we are into the first turn. It is a very dominant 1-2 for Travis Wallace and Christopher Streppin so far, and that it is the Breitling crew in 3rd through 5th place.
Wow, they got the track on lockdown.
Indeed. We're in the mix, and there's a lot of Pumas back there. Puma's got the numbers here today. They got 5 cars, which is far more than any other team has, but no one really showing pretty well for their team. Martin Emmons is in 7th place. He is their top Puma.
Top men.
Top Puma. Up at a 6th as he makes a move on your teammate Wesley Stokes. Oh, yeah! Wesley's off. Off.
Wesley. What
Wesley
the hell,
is
man?
off.
Not enough coal in the engine. Didn't stoke it up high enough.
Indeed. Mike Stoffmill's up to 5th place. Championship leader. And in the background there, Martin Edmonds, a little contact with John Barker.
Remind me when I win the lottery that I'm going to buy a boat and paint champion on the side. And people are like, what is it called? Because it's a championship.
Ah, that's a good one. Mike Stoffmill up at a 3rd. It looks like Jesse Hampton giving him that spot. As a member of Team Breitling.
Chasing squirrels. Not sure what's going on there.
John Barker having some problems with his connection by the looks of it. Or is that just Jesse having problems with the connection? Pardon me. So maybe that's why Jesse just gave up 2 spots to his teammates. He's got a bit of lag going on.
He should just definitely quit and start making more liveries.
No, I fully enjoyed working with Jesse on the fuel calculations for this race.
I'm only teasing.
Spent 3 hours on this track. Jeff Roulette closing in on Michael Magus for 7th place. They had a nice battle at Silverstone, and looks like we might get a repeat of that here today.
Is there a superior track called Goldstone?
There probably is, but I don't know where it is.
Well, if it was superior, it'd probably be more well known.
There is a Golden Road track.
Rainbow Road.
Not Rainbow Road. Someone does need to make that though. Like, come on, that's waiting to be made.
I can try and make that in. Man, that would be an interesting challenge for Raceroom.
Surprised you
Or not
haven't
Raceroom,
yet.
for your boy Trackmania.
What was that, Travis?
So I'm surprised that Byron hasn't made that one yet.
Oh,
The classic.
indeed. Jeff Roulette trying to get up the inside of Michael Magus. It does not work at this time. There's a little bit of flickering going on throughout the grid, so maybe the server having a bit of a problem. I don't know. These are not the normal flickering cars that we're used to. You can see John Barker blinking in and out of existence there. Normally he's a very solid connection.
Edmund's really putting the pressure on.
Indeed, he is on a charge. At this point, we realized he was not saving fuel and was not going to make one stop work. So let's talk about the tactical implications of this race. This race is probably...
Nobody cared, nerds.
Martin goes down the inside. Can he make it happen against John Barker? Barker's got the inside to the next corner, though, and it's going to be Barker who retains. Oh, maybe not. Martin with a much better drive off the corner.
So
Should be mentioned, none of these corners are named. They're all just numbered.
What the nerds want to convey is that whoever chugs the least amount of juice is the more gooderist, and that's a lie because you should chug all the juice all the time. Case in point.
It depends on your strategy. I mean, for example, not gonna say who, but 2 of the Breitling cars are gonna say fuck it and just go for a 2-stopper.
Go for a 5-stopper.
And Jesse Hampton on the attack there against Martin Edmonds. But anyways, this is either a 1-stop race if you can fuel save pretty aggressively, or a 2-stop strategy if you want to try to go for the outrun, basically. Just push away and fuel up with 20 or so liters per stop, or go for 45 and a splash and dash of about 10 liters and make it work.
Or if you're Jurgen Walby, no stops needed.
That's true. No. In fairness, Wayne Hutchinson is the man who gets the no stops needed award, because he did that. He did that one enduro race back in Suzuka with no pit stop.
Ooh, very nice.
1 set of tires, 1 tank of fuel, start to finish.
That's pretty impressive.
Indeed.
Edmonds is really pushing Barker.
He is really pushing Barker, and you can see that Barker, the connection is not great.
Yep.
Oh, God!
Oh, there you go.
John Barker off. Martin Edmonds is losing a spot to Jesse Hampton. So all that work, and Hampton says, I'll take 2 spots. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and good night.
So quick rundown here. At some point, Mike Magus has fallen back. He's now behind Josiah Jerome and Jeff Roulette. As you can see there, he now overtakes John Barker, who is recovering from his off there. Wesley Stokes still in the top 10, despite his incident. So 3 members of Team are in the top 10. And we have 4 members of Breitling and 3 members of Puma. And no members of Replay Racing, because their only car is in 11th.
In the interest of getting the viewers drunk as much as possible, Travis, what do you have to say about the leader of the race right now?
Wallace is he's doing a great job running away with it. But I'm not sure that Wallace is going to be able to save any fuel if Wallace continues to push so hard.
Fantastic. Thank you and good night. Everybody do 3 shots.
3 drinks for everyone else.
There you go. Martin Edmonds on the attack against Jesse Hampton. Can he get the job done? The answer is, for the time being, no. Martin Edmonds has been the star of the race so far, that's for sure. Leading this 3-pack of Pumas in 5th, 6th, and 7th. Puma missing one of their key drivers, Mr. Sean Kinney, absent from today's race. He was unable to make it home in time to join the challenge.
Can't just eat a bird.
What a loser.
Whoa, it's very interesting watching Jesse Hampton's internet connection problems there. I'm starting to think that the problem is actually Martin Edmonds, just saying.
Yeah, I mean, with
Edmonds clearly running a bot, sandbagging everybody else's connection speed.
been found out.
Because it doesn't seem to matter what car is in front of Martin. They're getting connection problems.
Clearly running a bot. We've seen this in World of Tanks for a number of years. You get near a bot and everybody's connection tanks.
The lag bubble.
Exactly. Lag bubble OP. Martin Edmonds clearly cheatering.
Clearly cheating in a manner that probably preserves his tires, I would think. I don't know. That's probably what I do.
I mean, hope so. One can only hope for him.
One can only hope for his sanity in this regard, because we know Martin is he's a tire murderer, and he's got a serious problem with rubber.
He is aggressively savage towards rubber. Don't get him involved in any kind of like kinky stuff. You're going to be in for a bad time.
Indeed. So he's still pressuring Jesse Hampton. Just up ahead is Mike Stockmill, and then the 1-2 running Wallace and Verstappen cars of the orange team. We'll just go with that. We'll just go with that. Orange team.
Orange team.
Correct. Andy was telling me Martin's incredibly short.
I've heard this. I've heard that he's like 5'6" or something.
5'6". I heard it's more like 3.5, 6.
Whoa. Okay. It's been undersold to me then.
Incredibly short, and apparently the accent's fake. He's actually from the Netherlands.
Interesting. Why is he not fast then?
Well, I mean, he subscribes to the Badr Hari approach to Dutch stuff, which is, go to jail.
Speaking of the Dutch, R.I.P. Ramon Dekkers.
Correct. The Diamond, R.I.P. the Diamond.
Hampton's still holding off the attack of Martin Edmonds, and here's John Barker, who is the number 2 Breitling driver in the standings, catching up to the number 4 Breitling driver, Michael Magus, and we'll see if any team orders come into play in that particular battle there. Martin has gotten through over Jesse Hampton. We completely missed it off screen. Fire that camera, man.
Correct. Now you made me sad with mentioning Ramon Dekkers. I'm just going to listen to emo music and sing over all of you now. Somebody find me. I'm going to listen to The Cure and just bellow.
It is a sad day. Sad day.
Was it like the anniversary? Like, he died a while ago. Why did you mention it, you bastard?
Someone was running a tribute to him on Twitter. That's what it was.
Fair enough.
It's been in my mind.
That seems fair. But you're still an asshole.
I didn't say I wasn't.
My coaster is stuck to my drink. That's not comfortable. I don't want that to bomb my nuts.
Jesse Hampton coming back at Martin Edmonds, who's pushing very, very hard. One would assume a 2-stop strategy from him, and probably also from Hampton at this point as well, as they are battling for it. Is there anyone that you can cite, Travis, that you believe is probably on the fuel-saving part of this, just based on the behavior of their car, their positioning, and just overall situation?
Well, I would definitely say Stockmill is, considering he's 5 seconds off the lead. We're not
not winning the race. That's a big sign.
I can tell you that Edmonds is not, just based on stuff later in the race.
Well, and that aggressive car language.
Yeah, he's really pushing. It does seem to be a slower paced race than we're used to seeing. Normally in these cars, everybody's mixing it up pretty good. But it seems to be that everybody is just kind of taking it easy.
Well, the
fuel thing in the back of their mind.
Yeah, we did the Motegi thing where a number of people ran into fuel problems towards the end of the race. So, definitely something to keep in mind with these cars.
Yeah, and Motegi, that's a good comparison to here, because both of those circuits you're on the gas a lot.
Very similar circuits. I'd say a little bit more on heavy braking at Motegi, but that's about it.
Yeah, both are very throttle heavy. Long straights, fast corners.
We've lost John Picha from the race. Either that or there's another reason he's 4 laps down to James Butler.
Saving fuel, goddammit. I thought that was the whole mantra of this thing.
I think if you have to go down 4 laps to save fuel,
saving fuel.
You might have been just better off doing the 2-stop strategy.
He's an eco warrior. He's saving every bit of fuel. Fuck you.
So Jesse Hampton's on the attack.
Peaches out. He got taken out relatively early. Obviously 4 laps ago.
Mm-hmm.
at some point. I don't know when or who, but someone made contact and knocked his left rear wheel off.
Oh, that'll do it. Yeah.
Yeah, so he.
Unless your name is Frederico's Vanger. And side by side,
Yeah,
heading
then
into this corner here. This is probably the best overtaking corner on the track, actually. Jesse couldn't get it done there, so Edmonds retains 4th place. By the way, speaking of Vanger, we were just randomly looking through rankings for the race app. You'll never guess what Frederico's Vanger's ranking is.
I mean, he does drive a fair amount.
He is number 43 out of all race app racers.
Wow.
The anger flows through him.
There's 10,000 plus racers. That's amazing.
That is not bad.
Mike Stobmill, by the way, number 2 in all of race app.
That one doesn't surprise me.
yeah, that one was not surprising, no. I just moved into the top 100 today, actually, so there you go.
Nice.
So John Barker on the attack against Mike Magus. I would say we could also probably say that Jesse Hampton is not saving fuel due to the fight that he's taking to Martin Edmonds here. That seems like probably a two-stopper.
Yeah, these two are probably the only cars on the track at the moment. Nobody else is really in a battle. These two are pushing.
There's a little bit of a battle going on between James Butler and Javier Perez Torres. We just haven't really been shown yet, to be honest. They're very close together.
I did scroll through the chat on Discord. I get no mention. There's nothing from Senor Picha about what happened, so I don't know. I got nothing to add, just other than I did research and I'm trying to contribute, and everybody look at me.
We appreciate it, sir. And through that corner is so much fun.
So, come on, race nerds. How many nanometers per deciliter are they running per centigram on this one?
So, I mean, in terms of fuel, we're talking about 3 liters a lap. You could get probably about as low as 2.8. A little bit over 3 would be probably the high side of things. I think personally my worst lap from a fuel consumption standpoint was a 3.06. Best was a 2.86. So there's a 0.2 of a swing there. Depending on how you do it.
I think my highest usage was only like 2.9. My lowest was like 2.65.
Should be mentioned that the 3.06 was me having to cut through the grass after someone had punted me, so, you know, didn't help the numbers.
That sounds like some dumb nerd shit. Indeed.
So basically what you need to do is probably keep this down to about... We're looking at, 33 laps for this race on a projection. So you got 90 liters between 2 laps, so you're going to need to keep it below 3. So if you can average about 2.9, that was kind of like the magical number right there. If you could keep it down to that, you'd be able to make it on a one-stopper. But if you couldn't...
I think your numbers are high. I was averaging... Well, it said my average was 2.9, but that was including... all of the practice that I've done and the qualifying run where I was all out.
Okay, no,
during the race,
you're right.
I was probably averaging just over 2.7, like 2.75.
Ooh, that's damn close. Because by the numbers I got here, 2.72 was the magic number.
Yeah, I won't spoil the end, but it's a very low consumption that you have to shoot for. A lot of.
I will spoil the end. Wesley Stokes wins.
John Barker catching up to Mike Magus. Magus is being held up by Josiah Jerome. Your boy is under fire here, Travis. Do you have any words of encouragement for the Dominicite?
You can do it!
Please don't die. Please don't die.
Please don't die.
Don't die.
That's a solid one. Speaking of Wesley Stokes, running in 10th place there.
Lagged backwards.
Indeed, he has lost a spot due to lag.
Yeah, he was totally in front of you before that slight bend.
Yeah, we
behind you.
There was a lot of chatter on the Breitling team chat about that, of John going, we got to be careful around Josiah. I'm like, yeah, I know, he's flipping in and out of existence, and then all of a sudden I'm like, hey, I'm in 7th place.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's doing a great job at the defensive line, but he kind of teleported in behind you, which was a little retroactive.
A little bit. Martin Edmonds still in 4th place. Tracking down Mike Stopmill, actually. So, Martin once again proving probably the which of these two cars is saving fuel and which one isn't. Just kidding, Martin. You're a quality driver, Martin Edmonds. Just not great at tire saving.
Yeah, sure, we'll go with that.
Wesley Stokes
is,
on the attack.
Yeah, he's caught up. He's going to get back up into it.
Yeah, Wesley was
gonna win.
Well, Wesley qualified like what P6 or so.
He had a decent
it was a solid run. Yeah. You guys definitely had probably your best package for this race, I think, of the season so far for the orange team.
Yeah, I would totally agree. We felt really good coming into it. Definitely the best we felt all season.
Excellent. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
How come the orange team wasn't reserved for the Dutch drivers? You racists.
Because the teams were chosen before we allocated the drivers. And since I was the weakest captain, I got stop mill.
That seems fair.
Because without Caleb or Mike Davies or anything like that, I mean, the stop mill, by far best driver in ESR, just, without caveats, but particularly when we're missing probably the second and third best driver. And also,
there's some teamwork blocking going on here of my boy.
Indeed, Wesley Stokes being held up by Mike Magus and John Barker. Josiah Jerome has disappeared from the bunch. He's dropped all the way back down to 12th place. I suspect a pit stop has occurred for him that we did not see. And
lost to Roche also.
Yeah, Richard DeRoche out, and that has ended the team replay day. That was their only car.
Oh man, tough break.
That poor team.
I didn't mean to laugh. Sorry about that.
The replay owner is pulling his hair. So we assume we've seen a pit stop from Josiah Jerome. We should be seeing a couple more here. If you're in for a two-stop strategy, we're about a minute from that kind of pit window of splitting the race into thirds. So we'll see if anyone comes in at this point. And of course, there could be some people who are looking at a two-stop strategy but want to run longer. Obviously, the two-stop strategy offers you a lot of flexibility. You can pit when it's a good situation to pit, more so than when your fuel dictates, because you're going to start with a full tank of fuel, kind of regardless.
A likely story.
Well, I did.
You start with 2 drops in the tank, so you get a quick start, and then you just pit stop immediately.
It's probably a bad plan.
It's all wait.
Well, you know what? No, you know what? A couple of guys in DTM have been doing that lately, where they just do 1 or 2 laps and then head in for their mandatory pit stop. It seems to work. I have no idea why it does.
Because everybody has to pit stop later.
Yeah, but you would think that, changing off the tires and, running another set of tires. Oh, hang on. Martin Edmonds going for 3rd place here against Mike Stoppmill, and he is through!
Put him in the wall!
Martin Edmonds has found a way through, and the Puma is on to the podium.
Or has he?
I think for now he has, but Stoppmill?
Oh,
yeah, Stoppmill a little wide there. Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. Martin solidly in 3rd place now.
What is happening to Stoffmill?
Well,
is that not
drunk.
The 3rd race in a row that we have seen him leave the racing surface?
Well, a couple of things. Number one, he's riding a lot of ballast, which is always a little bit painful. Wesley Stokes, by the way, has found his way around John Barker and up in 8th place there, so that's got to be happy for the orange crew.
I hear that Mike Stoffmill has to have 17 hippopotami per tire in ballast.
Not quite that much, but it's a lot of ballast. Anyways, he's down to 4th place for the time being, but we know Martin Edmonds probably on a 2-stopper. So the question is, are Wallace, Verstappen, and Stoppmill also on that 2-stop strategy, or are they going for the 1-stop? And that could obviously heavily impact what's going on here. A bit of a weird lag thing going on there for Javier Perez Torres. He is not in 6th place. I would like to assure everyone of that. He's down in 11th. John Barker moving to attack to take the spot back against Wesley Stokes. Can he make it happen? Yes, he can. We are now at the 38 minutes remaining. Still only one person is confirmed that they're on a 2-stop strategy, and that is Josiah Jerome, who is back down in 12th position and ganging quite rapidly on Javier Perez Torres after coming up out of the pits with presumably a fresh set of tires.
Actually, I believe he's getting all those tires secondhand on discount.
Oh, I mean, that is a way to save money, but I don't know if that's really the
Saves
key
money and
performance
weight.
idea. Yeah, but I don't know if the weight savings there are really going to work out in the long run.
That ye of little face.
So Wesley Stokes on the attack against the Breitling duel of Michael Magus and John Barker, the double admin combo of the Breitling crew.
Fix confirmed.
And of course, we've got a firewall that actually prevents you from passing it.
Nice.
And Jesse Hampton is catching up to team leader Mike Stopmill. Now, we know we have the idea that Hampton probably looking at a two-stopper, Stopmill looking at a one-stopper. Perhaps this could mean that Stopmill is saving some fuel, and that's allowing Hampton to get closer and closer. And we'll have to see what that happens in terms of team orders right there. Ooh, a little bit of a mistake there by John Barker. Gives Michael Magus some breathing room in the battle for 7th, 8th, and 9th with Wesley Stokes. And of course, Josiah Jerome fits in here somewhere as well. He has made his pit stop. So it looks like that is not Wesley Stokes we're looking at. So I'm not 100% sure. I see a Breitling car in the background is in the pit lane. That appears to be Jesse Hampton, who has dropped down to 7th place. So Hampton in the pits. That would lock him into a two-stopper. And it appears that also Michael Magus and Wesley Stokes are in the pits. So it looks like they are locked in to a two-stopper as well.
I think they're actually going for the 19th stopper.
I mean, if you could make up the time, that'd be great.
One pit stop per lap for here.
Javier Perez Torres picking up a couple of places. You can see the 3 cars that pitted coming out of the pit lane there. Hampton, Magus, and Stokes, along with Jerome, are now converted to 2-stop strategies. Everyone else still has a 1-stop strategy option. Whether their fuel really will allow for it or not is perhaps a different story.
Maybe.
Yeah. The big question is Edmonds, because we can see that the top 3 are spread out, so they don't have to push, or the top 4. Edmonds being the odd one out there, who appears to still be pushing pretty hard.
Yeah, I think we could probably safely assume Martin Edmonds is on a 2-stopper. Wesley Stokes looking to get around Josiah Jerome, who I think Josiah lost out a little bit on the pit stops there because he's dropped a fair bit back from where he was before those pit stops. Because he was, of course, between Barker and Magus before the pit stops. You can see he's about 6 seconds behind Magus now. So that would suggest possibly a rough pit stop, or possibly just him going with a 45-liter approach, whereas everyone else might be going with a more even-handed pit stop strategy. Oh, Josiah getting a little out of shape there.
Nice save.
Good save, though. Good save. There is Martin Edmonds. He's closing on Christoph Verstappen. He's got the gap down to less than a second. So he is. I'm not going to say he's not fuel saving, but he's certainly fuel saving at a less rapid rate than Verstappen is. Considering that Martin did not have really particularly amazing pace in qualifying, this to me suggests that we are looking at a 2-stop strategy, and he's going for it hard. If you were going to do a 2-stop strategy, though, Travis, would you not have made your pit stop by now to even out the tire wear, or would you try to go for that long first stint?
Well, if it was anybody else, I would say maybe they're managing the tire wear to stretch out for a longer first stint. But considering it's Edmonds we're talking about, I don't know what he's thinking.
Not entirely sure about the genius strategy here from the Puma boys, unless they're just getting ridiculously good gas mileage. I mean, it's possible. I don't know.
Maybe he's saving while he's in the slipstream as he's catching people. Because I mean, everyone he's caught, he hasn't reeled in quickly. It's been a slow, gradual catch. Maybe he's just working the slipstream and doing a little bit of catching up and saving fuel at the same time.
I will say a generous interpretation, but it is a valid one. There he is. He's in the pit lane. So yeah, I think that locks him into a 2-stopper because I mean we're 33 minutes left. We've gone 27 minutes in. He's not ridiculously far from a 1-stopper, but he would have to save some significant fuel here in the latter half of the race.
Yeah, I think the tank's about 28 minutes on these things with a full tank. So 33, that's a very long stretch.
Also in the pits is the Puma car of Jeff Roulette. So it looks like he's also on the two-stop strategy. So let's see here. Who is still looking like maybe a one-stopper? We got Travis Wallace, Christopher Strecken, Mike Stockmill, John Barker, the top four. And Javi P and James Butler, who are 7th and 8th. They have not pitted yet. They may also be working for that one-stop strategy. As Javi P is dropping back now and appears to be in the pit lane. So good work, camera guy.
Joke's on you, they're using electric cars and no pit stops needed.
You clearly have not watched electric racing. There's more pit stops needed, if anything. Jesse Hampton jumped Martin Edmonds in the pit stop strategy there, so he's up to 5th. They both presumably have one more pit stop to go. Travis, what do you think is more likely? Jesse came out of the pits and did some great work pushing, and Martin wasn't able to do work the long strategy, or this is a case of a fuel differential where maybe Martin went with the full tank at the pit stop and Jesse went with more of an even distribution between his pit stops. As James Butler rejoins in 11th position. So Butler and Javi P have pitted. So it is the top 4 cars: Wallace, Verstappen, Stockmill, and Barker, who I think are the only ones that have the one-stop strategy on the table without some ridiculous fuel saving, as Martin Edmonds picks up a spot there over Jesse Hampton, who made a mistake. So story about that mistake for a second, if we got a moment. Jesse's wheel started coming off the desk.
That's not good.
That's not the way to go.
He believes he may have cracked his mounting.
I recommend a judicious use of hot glue.
So he pulled a bit of a Travis Wallace there. I think that's what it comes down to. Verstappen and Wallace are in the pit lane. That's not great. They did not make it to the halfway point before making their pit stop. But Travis, would you like to give your insider take on this matter?
Well, at this point, we were just trying to save fuel. The first stint, the first 4 laps, we'll say, we were pushing hard, trying to get a gap to Stockmill, and then the plan after that was just to coast as much as possible and try to make it to the 30-minute mark, because we knew if we could stretch the tank to 30 minutes, then the second half of the race would be fine. Unfortunately, we were about a minute short. So the second stint, we discussed it in the pit stalls. We were going to save even more. So basically, we knew it was going to be a dull race, and we were just going to be rolling very slowly around the track.
So if you're Christopher Streppen, then you're probably not really looking to fight Martin Edmonds here.
I wouldn't recommend it. Granted, hang on. Sorry, I thought I was done talking. I stuffed an Oreo in my face hole. He wasn't fuel saving as hard as I was in the first stint. And at the end of the first stint, we had the exact same amount of fuel in our tank. So I think his lower downforce that he was going with helped him in that regard.
Mm-hmm. Less fuel consumption to get the same force out of a corner.
Yeah, he was definitely a little bit to the better as far as how much he could push on top of the saving. So I don't know, a couple laps trying to keep Martin behind him, I would say is okay.
All right, there we go. That's the theory. But looks like Martin's got the edge on Mr. Verstappen. Now you can see that lag bubble's happening again. What's up, Martin? You're feeling someone coming out of the pit lane there. That is Mike Stockmill rejoining. So
trying to avoid the lag bubble.
I say it should be Stockmill. He pit after we pit.
Mike Stockmill back into 4th place. John Barker has also hit the pit lane. So everybody has been in for one pit stop. Quick recap of the standings. Travis Wallace leads from Christopher Streppen, Martin Edmonds, Jesse Hampton, Mike Stockmill, Mike Magus, Jeff Roulette, Josiah Jerome, Wesley Stokes, and John Barker. That's your top 10. Now we suspect that the two leading Orange Team cars are possibly on a one-stopper. We suspect that Mike Stockmill in 5th place is on a one-stopper. We suspect that John Barker in 10th is on a one-stopper. We suspect everybody else two-stopping. Would you agree with that, Travis?
Yes, wholeheartedly.
And we figure that just on the basis of their driving characteristics and also the timing of their pits. Were significantly not at the 30-minute mark. So it would be very weird that they could make it to the end.
I will say, though, if Edmonds is going with a two-stopper, he really needs to get past Verstappen.
He does, because he's looking at the gap between you and Verstappen. You know what? Verstappen's more or less keeping pace with you. So it depends a little bit on what Edmonds' goal is. Does he believe that a race win is in the cards here? If it is, he needs to get into the lead now, because he's the leading, two-stop car that we just discussed. He's got another pit stop to make. The two cars ahead of him may not have to stop again. So, yeah, I would say that getting through is of the utmost importance here. And we'll see if Martin can do that. So we got 12 cars still running. We've lost John Picha and Richard DeRoche to date. 26 minutes to go here. 12 cars still running. And just to break down the teams right now, Travis Wallace, Christopher Streppen, and Wesley Stokes are scoring for the Orange Team. Breitling has Jesse Hampton and Mike Stockmill 4th and 5th, Mike Magnuson 6th, and John Barker in 10th. And the championship leading Puma team, Martin Edmonds in 3rd, Jeff Roulette 7th, Josiah Jerome 8th, and their last scoring car is James Butler in 11th position. Anyone particularly standing out in a performance to you, Mr. Travis Wallace, who's maybe marking themselves as a person to watch in the future here?
Well, Verstappen, this is his second race, I think, with us.
A couple of Academy races on top of that, but yeah, you're right. He's maybe a half dozen top side.
Yeah, and he's I just meant this series, and he's, I mean, started out asking about the Academy and all this kind of stuff. We're wondering, and I mean, if he is saving fuel and competing this well with Martin Edmonds, a Division 1 driver, then I would say he's definitely surprising us. Michael Magus up to 6th position, which, no offense, that's a pretty good run for him.
Top Div 3 driver.
But yeah, I mean, looking down the order, everybody else looks pretty much in order, except for maybe Stockmill, who's, as we know, fuel saving pretty heavily.
Also with a significant amount of ballast.
Yeah. He's got a whole nother car in there with him.
Oh yeah, especially with these ones, because of course these are very light cars, so the ballast is really going to impact them heavier. I just have to mention, I'm catching up with Mike Stockmill.
Let the banners fly.
We actually, on the comms, Mike Stockmill was letting me know that he would move out of my way if I thought it would help. So that's probably never going to happen again. At this point in the race, I was very much looking at my gap to Jeff Roulette, because my suspicion was that I had jumped Roulette at the pit stop. My suspicion was that he went with the full 45-liter pit stop, whereas I went with a 27, and that our second pit stop and into our third stint, he would have a faster pit stop than me. So I needed a pretty good gap, and so I was looking at that gap very closely to see if I could pull it out as much as possible. And of course, when you're doing 3 stints and you're planning to change tires at both pit stops, you're not worried about burning the rubber. So Martin Edmonds still on the attack against Christopher Verstappen. So Verstappen still holding on to second. We talked about earlier, is this a good idea? Is he using up too much fuel? And I mean, I guess the answer is if he's holding his fuel mileage numbers while keeping Edmonds behind him, then there's absolutely nothing wrong with retaining second place, obviously. But we said that he has to be maintaining about a 2.7 fuel mileage. And if he's not, then he might be better off letting him through and maybe even taking the gas saving, fuel saving draft.
Yeah.
Looked like a bit of a server fuck up there, as I had James Butler up in fourth, which is not the case. In fact, there is Michael Magus hunting down Mike Stoffmill in a manner that we will probably never see again.
Wow, was that a 52.9 from you?
That was a 52.9 from me, yeah.
Wow, what a lap.
I got my best lap was a 52.5.
That's not bad. I know whenever I was pushing all out on a full tank, I was in the low 52 and touching 51.9s occasionally.
Yeah, there was
52.5. That's flying, dude.
There was one lap where the Breitling team comms got pretty lively because Jesse Hampton hit a fastest lap of the race. Not for him, like the fastest lap of the race. Didn't realize it because apparently it didn't pop up on his screen. And we're like, "Good work, Jesse." He's like, "What did I do?" I'm like, "You just went fastest." Martin Edmonds is taken Verstappen, who went off there. And actually, on that same lap, I posted the aforementioned 52.5. So I was like, "This was our lap, gentlemen."
Yeah, I think my average lap, I'm going to hate to see what it was. It was probably in the 54s. I turned so many 54s in this race.
So a bit of an alarming news for your team. Verstappen's dropped down to fourth place, so he's made a significant mistake and has lost out to Martin Edmonds and Jesse Hampton.
I was looking in Edmonds' mirror right there, like he was a fair ways off the circuit.
Yeah, he was quite off the circuit. Do you have any idea what happened there? Because we didn't see what was the instigating incident there.
I guess he just lost it coming out of the corner. He never said anything. I remember looking at my timing screen and doing a double take and trying to figure out where the heck he had gone. But he never mentioned it, so I didn't bring it up.
All right. Well, Mike Stoffmill still running in fifth place. Down, his lead is only 0.3 of a second over Michael Magus, who's getting a rare privilege to see the legendary Stoffmill up close and person and following him around the circuit a little bit here. Jeff Roulette is about 3.5 seconds back of that. Then it's Josiah Jerome. I'll tell you who's kind of really dropped off. Wesley Stokes. It's not really working out for your number 3 driver there. He's about 3 seconds behind Josiah Jerome now, who he was ahead of before, so something must have happened there. And Stokes is back in 9th place, and unless he can stretch it out to a one-stop strategy, he looks like he might be in a bit of rough shape here.
Yeah, I think the only redeeming thing to that is if he is on a two-stopper, so is everyone around him there.
True. Well, no, John Barker might be on a one-stopper, the man in 10th place. Because we do theorize that...
That's right. He was... What happened to him?
He's drunk.
He just dropped down to 10th place after his pit stop. I don't think anything particular happened.
He was up there because of the...
Yes.
The overlap, okay.
He was, of course, running behind me before the pit stops happened. So he's... I would say... I mean, it depends on how the one-stopper works out for him. But he's not particularly off where he was. I think it's just... so we'll have to see how that goes. And, of course... again, the question is, of course, one stop or two stop. What's the better one? And for some people, probably one stopper wasn't even a possibility. Verstappen's down to 7th, so he is dropping. Michael Magus in for his final pit stop of the day. Looks like he is the first one who will make that second stop, which is a bit weird because Josiah Jerome, of course, pitted a ways before anyone else, so it's a bit weird that he is not the one to blink first. But it could also have been that Magus was either going to have to pit or pass Stoffmill, and then just made the choice to make the pit stop instead of trying to do the teammate handover thing. And we have only got 18 minutes left, so a good time.
What is this about, a teammate hand job?
Hand off, not hand job.
Oh, my bad, sorry.
So, Magus has Nope, I don't think he's rejoined yet. Still in the pits, judging by that growing gap. So we'll keep an eye out for that rejoin. Josiah Jerome here, 7th place behind Verstappen. So Verstappen having some problems. I'd like to see if we can get a look at his time, though, and see if he's running decent laps or not. And it looks like Magus is back on the track in 10th place. So John Barker ahead of him, along with Wesley Stokes, Josiah Jerome, Verstappen, Roulette, Stockmill, Hampton, Edmonds, and Wallace.
Hear that Stokes guy? He's not too fast.
Wallace leading by 4.2 seconds. Wesley is very fast. Don't say that.
That's the joke.
Josiah Jerome up into 7th place. One would think that he should be looking at making a pit stop rather soon. He was the first pit stopper. Or we assume he was anyways. He dropped back, and the only explanation I think really present is that he pit stopped. Either that or he's run 43 minutes without stopping, which seems pretty unlikely.
So,
Oh, you do that.
Butler has picked up a drive-through.
Yeah, drive-through penalty for James Butler. Not good for him. I was going to say not good for Team Puma, but realistically, Javier Perez Torres will pick up the spot over him, so it's actually not really impacting the teams in any significant way. We ride on board with Josiah Jerome here through the first corner. He is currently in 6th position, so somebody else has hit the pits. Jesse Hampton is in for his final fuel stop, presumably. And so that means we are waiting on Martin Edmonds, we're waiting on Roulette, Jerome, Stokes, and I assume Butler's penalty was for speeding in the pit lane, so he's probably made his pit stop, but he will have a drive-through. And Javier Perez Torres, we're waiting to make his second pit stop as well. There is Wesley Stokes in 7th place, all over the back of Josiah Jerome. So we were talking about how things didn't look great for Wesley. It seems to be on the charge now, because he's closed the gap to Josiah significantly, and is definitely in a good groove right now.
I think he made a later first stop.
I believe he did, yes.
He's probably got a good deal fresher tires.
And we did talk about how Josiah was the first stopper, so his tires are probably the worst of anybody's right now. Aside from possibly Martin Evans. Wesley Stokes gets the better of him on the brakes there and takes over 6th position. So Stokes up to 6th for the orange team. But we're still waiting for Wesley's pit stop. We're waiting for Josiah's pit stop as well, and where they're going to come out in relation to Hampton and Magus, who have made their pits. And it looks like James Butler has been DQ'd from the race, as he's been slotted into last position. Josiah in the pits.
Giant bastard.
So Josiah in the pits with about 15 minutes left. Wesley is pushing on. I mean, I guess you'd have to ask, does Wesley think he can do a one-stopper still? Like, at what point do you look at your fuel numbers and just realize you got to make that second stop?
I mean, I would say before you make the first stop. Because even trying to do a one stop, you have to drastically fuel save. So if you're not committed to that, then it ain't going to work.
So there is Jesse Hampton. He is past Josiah Jerome. That's not particularly interesting. I think we more or less took that as more or less a given that Hampton would come out ahead. Magus has also gotten the better of Josiah Jerome here. So he is up to 9th. That's really it, because he's going to come out ahead of Javier Perez Torres, I think, without a doubt. As he's running in, Torres is some 40-plus seconds behind Jerome, and may also have a pit stop of his own still to make. So we're still waiting on Wesley. We're still waiting on Martin Edmonds. Edmonds is closed down to Travis Wallace. It's only 2.5-second lead. But, of course, we know that, well, we have Travis Wallace's word here. He's on commentary that he is fuel-saving, and we are very certain that Martin isn't. And indeed has a second pit stop in his future. Wesley Stokes. And I can say this not just because we've already run this race and we know what happens, but because this was also the speculation on the Breitling team chat. So Wesley Stokes still in 6th position. I would, if you're going with a two-stopper, I think you've got to get in the pits now, because I think you want to, unless you're going to do no tires, then I could see maybe going as long as possible. But if you're going to change tires, you probably want to get use out of that new rubber.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So we have Travis Wallace, first place, Stoffmill in third, Verstappen in fifth, and Barker in seventh. They're the ones that might not have to stop. We also know that Hampton and Magus and Jerome, 8th through 10th, they have already stopped twice, and we imagine do not have to stop again. So that's where the fuel to the end on the two-stopper begins. We are riding with Wesley Stokes here a lot. Very nice camera views, actually, we're getting here. Presumably from the auto director too, unless Martin is doing a little camera directing while racing, in which case, appreciated.
He has been known to do that. Apparently, he could whack it with his elbow.
Oh, okay, that's a good setup. So he's 1.5 seconds off the lead. In fact, there he is catching up to Travis Wallace. So I mean, it's all working out either way at the moment. So at the moment, Wallace might be on for the race win here if he can make the one stop work. Mike Stoppmill might be on for the win here if he can make the one stop work. I don't really, you know what? If there's a two stopper, if all three of them have to go two stopper, then maybe Martin Edmonds comes into the winning calculations here. Wesley Stokes all over the back of Christoph Verstappen. Would there be any team orders here from the orange team to let Wesley through if Verstappen is saving fuel and Wesley's not?
Yeah, I think that would be a smart move.
It would
keep Wesley's momentum up.
Yeah, we get the hard charger in front, and also let Verstappen enjoy a little bit of draft to possibly save some more fuel.
This is another one of them teammate ham jobs I keep hearing about?
Yes.
All right.
So we'll see if the orange team arranges a handoff here between their 5th and 6th place car. Speaking of the orange team, there is your race leader Travis Wallace. He's got Martin Edmonds in 2nd place. Is Martin gonna pit this lap, or is he still going for it? Because there's no way he can do the one-stop strategy. I mean, number one, Martin's notoriously bad tire management. Number two, he's been probably the hardest pushing car all day. There's no way he's getting the fuel mileage.
Yeah, as hard as he's been pushing, especially in the second stint, you would think if he pit so late for his first stop that he would know that he wouldn't be able to make it. Still have 33 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, he pitted 33 minutes on the clock. It's pretty unlikely without aggressive fuel saving that he could make it on a one-stopper. Maybe he just wants to get that lead, come in from the lead, have that I guess that mental win.
Maybe.
Well, we'll see. They're coming up to the pit entry now. Is this the lap that Martin Edmonds is going to go for it? Nope, he's going for the lap.
And I would guess he's not going to hit tires. He's going to leave the soupy ones on. Do a little splash.
Mm-hmm. Drive on that poutine.
Just pour some gas on the tires. It'll help him get in shape, and he'll be all right.
Just on a note on the two-stop versus the one-stop, Jesse Hampton and Mike Magus are catching John Barker, who is one of our theoretical one-stoppers. So their two-stop strategy is coming into play a little bit there, as they are presumably putting up some pretty good lap time. Martin Edmonds there, you can see his best lap of a 52.2. Very impressive, actually. We'll see if he can get the lead before his pit stop, because we're very certain he's got to make a pit stop at some point. Looks like Wesley Stokes is in the pit lane, so we'll be very interested to see where he comes out. He's lost a spot to Jesse Hampton. I think that was somewhat of a given. The interest will be specifically Josiah Jerome, where he comes out in relation to him. And possibly if he can come out around Michael Magus, he'll have a shot at top 8. Magus has gone through, and it looks like Stokes is going to be the better part of 10 seconds, more than 10 seconds behind him. So I don't think that's really on. So it's between him and Josiah Jerome, I think, more than anything else. Martin Edmonds turning up the heat, 3/4 of a second there between him and the race leader. Mind you, one of these are in theory fuel saving. The other one is not.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised he hasn't tried to make a move at this point. Because,
I
you can see there, I was out of the
There
throttle
is.
very early, and I was not blocking.
Indeed. And this is the pit lane. There we are. So Martin is not going to get the lead. He's going to hit the pits, come out. So the question is where he comes out in relation to Jesse Hampton, who is the top 2 stopper, and also to a degree where he comes out in relation to John Barker and Christoph Verstappen, who are theoretically trying to go for a 1-stopper. If he can get out ahead of them, that's going to be a huge victory for Martin. This is a splash and dash, so it'll be a pretty quick pit stop. Mike Stoppmill up to 2nd. Jeff Roulette will go through, but we theorize Roulette has a pit stop to make yet. So let's see here. Edmonds, is he going to come out ahead of Verstappen? I'm going to say no. Verstappen is through. He is coming through the pit lane, though. That may allow him to get out ahead of the 1-stopping John Barker. Can he do it? And of course, in theory, if Barker makes a fight of it with Edmonds, Edmonds should be in the better fuel position to push on to the end. Although maybe not the better tire position, knowing Martin. And our theory that he may not have changed tires at that 2nd stop.
But the real question is, when you get your tires changed, is that technically a rim job?
No, because you're getting a new rim.
My point stands.
Oh, okay. That is a way of looking at it. Then yes it is.
Excellent. Carry on.
Travis Wallace leading by 14 seconds over Mike Stoppmill. So the only question for Travis at this point is the fuel mileage. Can he make it on the 1-stopper?
No.
Can Mike Stoppmill make it on the 1-stopper? Can John Barker? Can Christopher Strepp?
No.
We're going to find out.
No. Nobody finishes. Everybody dies.
Everybody dies?
2 laps before the end.
Archer shows up and everybody dies?
Everybody dies!
Do we get
Well,
water
yes,
bottles spit
rules.
at us?
A couple weeks ago on iRacing, one of the dirt sprint car races, in the Craftsman series, the big one on iRacing, the top 3 ran out of gas on the last lap, and the guy in 4th brought home the win. So anything could happen.
It's kind of like that. There was an F1 race back in the 80s where just everyone who took the lead ran out of gas. It was hilarious. I can't remember who ended up winning, but it was one of those like super unlikely winners in a car that never wins sort of deal. Oh, one of the Puma cars in the pit stop. That is Jeff Roulette, I imagine, in the pits. That has promoted Christoph Verstappen back to the podium in 3rd place. So a very solid run so far for Team Orange. Jesse Hampton coming through on Roulette. Can Magus beat Roulette? That's been the big question. Those are the 2 that have been jousting for position, basically. By the way, John Barker up back into 5th place, so there you go. He's cycling up on his potential 1-stop strategy.
Bicycle, that's not going to work in a race like this.
And it looks like Roulette has gotten out ahead of Magus. It is 7... No, hang on. They're still closing. Is Roulette out of the pits? Roulette's got to be out of the pits. It's just Magus is closing very quickly. Possibly new tires to old tires. The question I think maybe being there is the new tires going to pay off for Magus and be worth the extra time he spent in the pit lane, or is Roulette's splash and dash strategy with no tire change going to be the way to go? Do you have any predictions, Travis?
There's not long left, and a 6.5, 7 second gap. That's a lot to make up in 4 minutes.
We'll have a look later on down the road. Travis Wallace leading by 14.5 seconds at the front of the field ahead of Mike Stoppmill and teammate Christoph Verstappen. Martin Edmonds is still kind of in the winner calculation because, of course, those top 3 are all trying to go on a 1-stopper. There's only 4 minutes left, but, do they have the fuel? Do they check it out? Do they run out of fuel? There's a lot of options here that could still relate to a Canadian victory here.
Yeah, I would say out of those 3, the one I'm worried about the most would be Verstappen from having what seemed like 2 offs.
A couple offs, and also a little bit of a battle with Martin Edmonds. You think that stressed the fuel mileage a little bit.
Yeah, I'd say he's probably saved the least.
And then you've also got John Barker, who's in a similar boat, 1-stopping and trying to go to the end. You can see that he is relatively close there to Jesse Hampton. Roulette has lost about a second to Magus on probably about one lap. The gap is down to 6, but that's not going to be enough time for the Canadian to catch the American without some kind of mistake. So, quick team breakdown. The orange team, Travis Wallace, Christopher Streppen, and Wesley Stokes, 1st, 3rd, and 10th. The green team, Team Breitling, Mike Stockmill in 2nd, John Barker in 5th, Jesse Hampton 6th, Mike Magus in 8th. And then there's Puma, Martin Edmonds in 4th, Jeff Roulette 7th, Josiah Jerome 9th, and Javier Perez Torres. In 11th position, we have lost Richard DeRoche and John Picha to DNFs and James Butler to a disqualification.
I wonder if Stoffmill's going to be jealous of all the screen time the leader's getting in this race, because this never happens when he's in the lead.
It's a bit weird because you're not really racing anybody.
Guess it's because there's no battles going on in the rest of the field, maybe.
Yeah, there's not really anyone particularly close. The absolute closest cars right now are Wesley Stokes and Josiah Jerome, about 3 seconds apart. So, yeah, there's not much in the way of a battle going on right now. There's some interesting, lap time exchanges going. Mike Magus has taken another half second out of Jeff Roulette, for example. But there's no wheel-to-wheel racing going on. We might get something there for 3rd, though. Verstappen is losing ground quite quickly to both Martin Edmonds and, a little bit surprisingly, the one stopping John Barker is catching him quite quickly. So it looks like maybe Barker has been doing a better job of saving gas than Christopher Streppen, who we did express concerns about earlier on.
And I think he might be doing some late saving, because Edmonds has closed up from about a 3-second gap to a 1.5.
Yeah, it was actually about 4 seconds, about a lap ago. So very quick times being put in by Martin Edmonds, or very slow times by Verstappen. Take your pick, I suppose. A little bit of both, I would imagine. And he's catching. You can see John Barker in the background there. That's the Breitling car.
Speaking of closing gaps, the gap to the lead has gone from 16 down to 9.
Whoa! So yeah, you've lost about 5 seconds there, Stockmill. So Stockmill on the charge, or you trying to save the gas a little bit hard.
Yeah, the clutch was getting much usage on the last lap. Very, very much.
So there is the Puma car of Martin Edmonds right on the tail of Christopher Streppen. Can he make the move count? And he does. And I think Verstappen very much let him have it there, because he's dropped considerably back.
Yeah, I think he's saving. He was out of the gas early.
So Martin Edmonds will be presumably one of your podium finishers. We'll have to see who the other two are. It depends on whose gas holds out.
And we got Barker also kind of closing in back here.
Yeah, we got Barker on a bit of a charge, which is weird, because again, Barker should be also saving gas at this point, but is on the charge. So he would like a little something there. We got one more lap to go, I do believe. Yes, I am correct on that. So we are Verstappen beginning his final lap of the day. This would be lap, is it 32 or 33? How is that completed laps beside your name, or is that the lap you're on? I don't remember.
I think that's completed laps. I think the full race was 33 laps.
So we're on lap 33 here. Travis Wallace's lead is absolutely getting devastated right now. Magus versus Roulette Watch. Magus has got the gap down to 3.5 seconds, but yeah, with one lap to go, unlikely to be able to overhaul the 7th place Puma. John Barker putting the pressure on Christopher Streppen, and of course the question for Streppen is, how is that fuel looking? It's a question for Barker too, but the way Barker's charging, I have to think that he feels like he's good on fuel.
Yeah, he's turned it up here.
Yeah, looks like. And there is the race leader, Travis Wallace, with Mike Stockmill on the tail. It hasn't looked like Stockmill's really got a win in him all day, but he is going to take the lead.
Out of fuel.
There he goes!
Travis Wallace is dry, and Mike Stockmill's taking the lead, and it's more bad news for the orange guys, because there is John Barker making his move on Christopher Verstappen for what is P4 at the moment, but of course the second place car is out of gas. We'll see if they can catch him before the finish line.
He took a calculated risk, but boy, he was bad at math.
A lot of smoke there from somebody. There is Verstappen still running behind Barker. Jesse Hampton now also passed Verstappen, so things going really bad here on the last lap for Team Orange. And in fact, Travis Wallace out of the race. Verstappen, can he get it across the line? He can, so he'll be the lead orange car in 5th place. It looked like a 1-2 might have been on the cards at one point, or at least a double podium. But harsh luck is struck down Verstappen and Wallace on the fuel management gauge, and Michael Magus is coming to the line, but he is going to come up short by about 9/10 of a second behind Jeff Roulette at the line. Wesley Stokes coming across the line here in 8th position. How do you feel about that result for Wesley, Travis? Because it looked like he had more in him than this 8th place.
Yeah, I mean, based on the qualifying and the laps he was able to do in practice, we thought it was going to be a good one. But the misfortune early, I think, really got in his head. Kind of put him off his game.
Josiah Giron and Javier Perez Torres.
Wow, 51.9.
The 51.986. Jesse Hampton.
That matches
bringing it
my
home.
Fastest lap that I've turned here in practice, and that was the 51.9. Right before the server got shut, the practice server got shut down.
Is this the first time that in a mainline ESR event, like, not Academy or anything like that, the fastest lap has been given by a racer not in Division 1?
It could be. And somebody's still in the Academy at that.
Jesse is resigned from the Academy at this point, but yes.
Okay. Wow.
I would also like to point out that this is the first top 10 for Mike Magus in the history of the world.
That is a lie. I have a couple. I, in fact, had one earlier this week before this, and actually
that's
one in the Academy race before this as well.
That's not true either.
In fairness, there were 9 cars for the Academy race, so spoiler alert there. We all got top 10s. Anyways, that was a thrilling race. Not necessarily for the side-to-side action that you'd like, but the fuel actually really did make it very interesting down the stretch, because at no point did I honestly know who was going to win the race.
Yeah, it was the fuel game really played a part in that one.
Because, I mean, even at the end there, it's like, okay, Travis, if he has enough fuel, could win the race. Stop Mill, if he has enough fuel, could win the race. Martin has enough fuel. If the other two don't, he's going to win the race. So it was very interesting. Anyways, we'll be off to, what is it, Monza next? Yeah,
Imola?
No, it's Monza,
Imola?
it's Monza then Imola.
Okay.
That's where we're going with it. So that's going to be interesting. The classic Monza race.
That'll be another fuel race, Monza.
Yeah, it will.
A lot of full throttle again.
It's a lot of full throttle again, and not to mention maybe the most dangerous corner in all of racing.
Possibly.
That not in its difficulty per se, but for a first corner, Monza chicane.
Yeah, ton of speed.
It's gonna be scary. It's gonna be scary.
Lap 1 is gonna be touch and go.
Mm-hmm.
I am in favor of these things.
Keep in mind, if you want to join up with the F3 races, you still can. The teams will take on new members. And in fact, it would be ideal, because we would like to get a little bit more depth on, I think, all the teams. I think that would be fair to say.
Especially replay.
Yes.
Don't know what's going on there.
Tell them that you want to be on my
Andy
team.
fired everyone.
I mean, there's a story behind almost everyone on replay why they aren't attending. So there you go. Anyways, we'll talk to you next time. We've got 3D speed commentary coming up. We've got Academy commentary coming up. So get ready for that.
Are we getting a live commentary tomorrow, Byron?
What's going on tomorrow?
ACC.
I'm around. Actually, you know what? I don't know if I'm going to be around. I don't know what the timeline looks like. But if I am around, I'll put something up in Discord. We'll work it out. If I'm not around, then not.
Fingers are crossed.
We're very much hoping you're around, because this one's going to be a night rain race.
Oh, Jeebus Creebus! If somebody please record that if I'm not around.
All right.
Yeah, I got mine set up to record, so we should be covered.
So get ready for that, guys.
Boy.
All right, that is all for today.